A very good evening and a warm welcome to UBC News Tonight on this 14th day of June 2023. I'm Laureen Masika Kazimoto. Now before we delve into tonight's news bulletin, let's first take a look at the top stories this evening. In our top stories tonight, President Museveni to address Parliament virtually during the budget reading on Thursday. Shan politicians spreading harmful propaganda about the president's health, Minister Kabanda tells the public. Comedian Kato buried, mourners urged to emulate the late. And in sports, talented youngster Brian Senyondo unveiled as Tara FC coach. Good evening once again. I'm Laureen Masika Kazimoto. Now we start off this newscast with our first headlining story this evening. President Museveni has announced that he will address Parliament virtually during the budget on Thursday this week as he continues to isolate due to his positive status. In a statement released today, President Museveni reassured the nation that he is feeling well with only mild symptoms experienced during the initial days. The decision to address Parliament remotely comes after the President's latest COVID-19 test still returned positive. Notably, the First Lady, Mama Janet, has tested negative for the virus as they have been diligently following safety protocols. President Museveni acknowledged the concerns raised on social media and through phone calls regarding the timing of the tests. He clarified that the tests were conducted sooner than anticipated due to diplomatic pressures. The president was scheduled to join a group of 6 African presidents on a train trip to Kiev, Ukraine, for mediating efforts in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. However, he has officially informed the group that his positive status prevents his physical participation. Instead, the Ugandan delegation will be led by Dr. Rugunda, who is already in Poland for the diplomatic engagements. On budget day, the president will delegate the responsibility of inspecting the parade and taking the salute for the march past to Vice President Alupo.
Kato Museveni has tweeted about his health since contracting COVID-19 on the 7th of June 2023, saying that his tests still show positive, but he feels ready to move out of self-isolation. He says that fortunately, Mama Janet is still negative because they are taking precautions. He continued to say that he was advised that testing after 4 days or a week was too soon. However, it had to be done due to the pressure on the diplomatic front. In the tweet, he says that 6 other presidents of Africa from the Comoros, Egypt, South Africa, Senegal, Congo-Brazzaville and Zambia are supposed to arrive in Poland tomorrow to take a train trip to Kiev to mediate in the Russia-Ukraine war, and he was supposed to have joined them. But he has now sent an official message that on account of his continued corona status, he cannot join the group there, but has delegated Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda, who is already in Poland, to represent us there. They will go to Russia to meet the Russians, he says. The president wishes the mission success and says that since he is not traveling to Kiev and Russia, he will be able to address Parliament tomorrow at a distance of 300 meters on the budget day. Otherwise, he had delegated the whole effort to Vice President Alupo. Now that I am not traveling, he says, she will inspect the parade for me, take the salute for the march past, and I will make my brief remarks at the end of the budget speech. Close quote.
For the sound there. But UBC News Tonight does continue. The Minister for Kampala Affairs, Hajat Minsa Kabanda, has scoffed at politicians who are playing politics about the positive progress of the president's health condition by spreading harmful propaganda that the president is not well. Minister Kabanda was speaking at All Saints Church in Nakasero, where a church service was held to pray for the president's quick recovery.
Christians and politicians converge at All Saints Church in Nakasero to pray for the positive progress of President Yoweri Museveni, who confirmed a week ago that he had contracted COVID-19.
Heal your people, heal the president, heal all his children, Lord, all his grandchildren as he calls them the bicycle.
The Minister for Kampala Affairs, Hajat Minsa Kabanda, while speaking at the church service, revealed that organized church services will continue to wish the president a quick recovery.
So let's continue praying and now all the prayer places, apart from maybe the traditional shrines, let's continue praying. Because I know the president has not believe in those. So we should always pray. And I thank you for giving us this offer. And since you say we are going to pray up to Sunday, we thank God that we are going to pray for the president. And we wish our president a quick recovery. Everywhere you are, you should pray for the president.
Kabanda castigated politicians who are spreading harmful propaganda about the president's health condition.
Who can give us the mercy? For us, we have no. We don't have those powers. We have monitors, we have medical people, but if you don't trust in God, if those that does not give you the love, you cannot be cured. People have gone outside of the country to get proper treatment, people have gone everywhere, but if you don't believe in God, it's Him who gives us this life.
The head of political mobilization, Engineer Sava, appealed to the youth to pay more attention to the health of the president, urging them to pray for him.
And we thank you for giving us the best president in the world. We have nothing we can give to God apart from praise. We have nothing we can give to our president apart from ever and always praise. We opened this, we started yesterday, today, and the church has offered us up to Sunday here.
Katonda ye yamuleta ate era yamutaddewo era yakyamutaddewo era yamanyina lwaki akyamufudde president wa Uganda.
We are here as a group, as a team, as mothers to pray for our president. We are so happy. We love you, the president of Uganda, the fountain of honor, the commander-in-chief of UPDF, the revolutionarist, Sabarwani, Mzee Wakazi, we are behind you.
Pray for our president. Should we love him? We must love our president with all our hearts because he has loved us with all his heart.
Komagum Rogers and Jamil Sekaja, UBC News.
Hundreds of NRM supporters this morning thronged Nakasero State Lodge Gate to console and wish General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni a quick recovery from the COVID-19 which interfered with his immune system last week. Most notable among the NRM groups that thronged the State Lodge Gate were National Women Council leaders led by their national chairperson Hajat Farida Chiboa and market vendors. We have more details.
Following President Museveni's personal declaration and confirmation of COVID-19 attack last week, several individual NRM supporters and NRM-leaning pressure groups have been thronging Nakasero State Lodge Gate to console him and pray for his quick recovery. Today's notable pressure groups that thronged the Nakasero State Lodge Gate were the National Women Council leadership led by Hajat Farida Chiboa, market vendors, Seven Hills City Clean Sanitation members, among others.
So our humble request and our prayer is that God helps us, save you, we love you, we cannot take your efforts for granted.
Hajat Chiboa, together with the Chiruhura District Women Council chairperson, Enid Mwesije, criticized some opposition leaders who have taken it to social media platforms to politicize the president's sickness.
Now some people are saying that the president was faking, that he's not sick. This is not in our culture. When someone is sick, you just need to send prayers, but not to say that this person is faking sickness.
We know, he says he's very okay now. He's healed in the name of Jesus.
The supporters prayed for the good health of the president.
Mercy upon him. COVID, we command you to lose. We command you to live our president in the name of Jesus. The Father to the nation.
We continue to pray for the president for a speedy and full recovery. Now, Bukedea LC5 by-election voting kicked off this morning with wide reports of ballot staffing and intimidations, though both police and the Electoral Commission described the allegations as baseless. By press time, voting had stopped and the tallying had commenced at the district tally centre as both candidates wait for the final results expected later.
At exactly 4 a.m. of Wednesday, 14th June 2023, the dispatch exercise for voter materials at the Bukedea election offices to different sub-counties had commenced. This was under the strict watch of police commanded by the East Kyoga RPC.
So we have 180 polling stations. We had put together everything for purposes of this election, and have a 2-in-1 because we have 2 positions to fill today. That is the position of district chairperson and district directly elected councillor for Bukedea.
With all polling stations across the district equipped with voting materials in time, by 7 a.m. voting was on.
We have not had any chaos. Things are moving on fairly.
So by 7, those who had the mandatory 10 voters present had opened up for purposes of starting the election, although some had to wait for some more time.
The NRM chairperson Electoral Commission, Dr. Tango Odoi, was among those on ground to monitor the process.
My purpose here is that NRM must win. Must win by me encouraging people to come and vote. Encouraging women that it is secure for them to come and vote.
At Township Primary School polling station in Bukedea Town Council, by 9 a.m. it is alleged that voting had closed.
So they didn't find your name?
No, my name was there, but
the presiding officer just told us that the things are finished. They have finished voting.
Yeah, this is a query desk, so we get questions. I don't know my polling stations. I've not seen my name, which are now not so big. So because we have a toll-free number here, so we've been providing support to such questions, but also complaints where a candidate, for example, we had a candidate coming in here and reporting that at one polling station within the town council, he alleged that voting had started before the time, by 7, like there were already votes in the boxes, which we had to send teams out to verify.
This moment left a league of voters in suspense.
Is it democracy or it is not democracy? There are no votes. There are no votes.
And this is our polling station.
However, the low voter turn-up was the talk of morning and afternoon hours.
Only that other people are still in gardens, but we are still waiting for them also to, after finishing garden work, they are coming.
The place has been dry and it had just rained 2 days back, so they have gone to the garden first, but we know after some time, at around midday, they will come and vote.
Consultations have intensified in Oyam North constituency ahead of NRM Extended Constituency Delegate Conference on Saturday. 10 people joined the race to seek for the NRM flag in the Oyam North by-election. Party leaders in the district say they are waiting to rally behind the one who will emerge victorious to secure the seat left by their former member.
You know, when you don't kill a lot. I would when you Oyam Town Council. Nobody can stop reggae. Reggae no one.
NRM party candidates seeking to hold the party's flag in the forthcoming by-elections in Oyam North have intensified what they are terming as consultations for primary elections on Saturday.
But in this situation, I am a friend that worked with my friend Mashadwogo. I am in a better position to continue with his legacy than the son.
I'm strictly going to dwell on what my old man had put in place.
The NRM here should vote for me as their flag bearer so that we keep maintaining. Most of those people, even the district chairman, I am the one who brought him into NRM. They were confessing here.
10 candidates were nominated, but Daniel Obala withdrew early this week, leaving the race to 9. Trusting in their agendas, candidates we spoke to say they are ready to secure the flag.
When I win, I am going to sweep Oyam yellow.
So they need me so that NRM should remain strong.
Let them come on board. This is something we shall see through.
NRM party leadership in Oyam district have vowed not to lose the seat that fell vacant after the demise of former State Minister for Labour and Industrial Relations, retired Colonel Charles Okelengwala. The party says they are doing everything it takes to secure the seat.
I am very optimistic this seat we are still going to retain it, in the sense that we have our structure even up to down because we are the majority.
Candidates are also warned against voter bribery.
We are standing on their capabilities, somebody who can be a better one.
Oyam North seat fell vacant on 2nd May this year when former MP and Minister of Labour was shot dead by his personal bodyguard Wilson Sabiti. NRM is set to declare its flag bearer on Saturday in a bid to secure his seat. UPC's Eunice Apio, FDC's Newton Okello and NUP's Daniel Okello are all eyeing for the same seat. Electoral Commission has gazetted 19th and 20th for nomination, and by-election will be held on 6 July this year. Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eddie Olwa. Now, former woman Member of Parliament for Kasese, Winnie Kiza, has urged the government to rehabilitate the palace for King Wesley Mumbere following his release from jail. In her interaction with our reporter Ivan Kahwa, Winnie Kiza argues that the amnesty was granted selectively to their king. We have more details.
The Director Public Prosecution recently withdrew all charges against Charles Wesley Mumbere, the King of Rwenzururu, along with 271 subjects after he spent nearly 6 years in jail. These charges included murder, terrorism, treason, malicious damage to property, attempted murder and aggravated robbery, among others. It is reported that 271 subjects have started returning to their areas in Rwenzururu.
There is a lot that has happened in between that period. So there is need for psychosocial support, there is need for rehabilitation, there is need for support.
Winnie Kiza, the former woman Member of Parliament for Kasese District, played a crucial role in the litigation process of the Rwenzori King. She questions the circumstances surrounding the king's release, which remain under scrutiny.
Because I know that deep in the hearts of the people of Rwenzururu Kingdom, they did not apply for amnesty on free will. They signed the amnesty papers as a condition for setting them free.
According to the chairperson of the Amnesty Commission, everyone is entitled to amnesty as long as they denounce rebellion or rebel activities.
And when you are given amnesty, you will not be prosecuted or punished for any crime you might have done in the process of rebellion.
Because we know what it means to ask for amnesty. And the people of Rwenzori know who is supposed to be asking for amnesty. It is not the king, and it's not his co-accused. But what do you expect from a helpless prisoner?
The palace was completely destroyed during the raid by the UPDF, and it requires extensive reconstruction to regain its former state.
There is no palace he's going back to, so our prayer will be that government of Uganda reconstructs Rwenzururu Kingdom Palace so that the king can be in position to get back home and find a home where he will rest.
Since Mumbere's arrest, there have been no substantial activities taking place in the region.
We have never held any cultural celebrations since the arrest. There have never been meetings of the elders planning for the kingdom. Even when we had leadership of the cultural institution, but virtually they have just been there to give announcements of what is happening. The king is going to court on this and this day.
It should be recalled that in 2017, some legislators petitioned the ICC to initiate investigations into indiscriminate murder, massacres, acts of genocide, and extensive destruction of property against the Rwenzururu kingdom.
I still stand firm and say people need to be held accountable. Impunity must be dealt with. We have here people who think that they are even bigger than God. You can't just destroy a whole tribe and you think you'll go away with it.
The locals in Rwenzururu are still jubilant about the release of their king. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
Thank you, Ivan Kawa. Now, a huge gathering braced the afternoon downpour in honor of the late fallen comedian Kato Luwama, commonly known as Uncle Kato. Luwama has been buried at his ancestral home in Nkozi, PG district after a week-long mourning. Government officials, political party leaders and artists, among others, attended the burial ceremony. Tributes for one in a million comedian Kato Luwama kept pouring, reflecting the great loss of a person who was not only true to himself, but also never tried to please anyone throughout his life. Kato Luwama was one of the funniest comedians Uganda had, and was also among the brilliant funny people whose conversation would always leave you helpless with laughter.
Never twali mu parliament nga bamuwabira nti tasomye bwe yagenda mu kooti yagenda ne bannakatemba n'akubira engoma ku kooti. Oyo musajja w'amaanyi yapromotinga art.
It's an almost unique eulogy based on the will as stated by the late Kato Luwama that his death should be totally celebrated with utmost happiness.
Kuyidi twali kuyidi nangamba munyagomanyi ngenda kudda Mumbere MP ne mugamba atotya abalonzi obavuma mwaka tono.
This has highly been respected as millions of people who braced the afternoon rain at Nkozi gathered at the ancestral home of the late Kato Luwama for his send-off.
Oyinza omulaba nti abadde comedian, oyinza omulaba nti abadde asaagasaaga nnyo, ne Kato Luwama yatekinga a firm step n'ayingira mu bukulembeze. Ayinza okuba tiyabitukolera byonna byonna y'ensonga lwaki naffe abajja after him naffe twagendayo twongereze ku yakoma.
House of Prayer Ministries lead pastor Aloysius Bujingo shared with the mourners his journey with the late Kato Luwama, centering his gospel to the urge for forgiveness and humility.
Buli muntu atasonyiwa awulira nga abeera mutuufu era bw'akunnyonnyolamu owulira nga ndowooza yandibadde tasonyiwa. Naye ekyakabenje okusonyiwa kye kisumuluzo ekiggulawo enzigi z'emikisa ate okusonyiwa kye kisumuluzo ekiggulawo emiryango gy'eggulu.
The late Kato, being a celebrated icon in the world of art and culture, has been described as a person who was always cheerful and in good spirits.
Munywerere nnyo kabaka wammwe Kato tabadde na nkwe eri Ssaabasajja Kabaka.
Politicians picked from there and did not differ.
N'omukulu leader of opposition akuli opposition akimanyi nti bali mu kwogera ne Anthony General balongose etteeka liyamba abantu bano. Teri abawala bayimbi ekyo mukijjeemu, teri abawala ba artist, teri babaagaliza.
The late Luwama was later lifted to his permanent house, accompanied by bundles of reefs. Luwama's life journey started in 1970 and was ended by a cardiac condition a week ago, leaving behind a widow and children. Lydia Chomkama, Daniel Mugoya, UBC News. A national policy advocacy organization, Uganda Debt Network, says government should heighten the practice of timely and efficient usage of borrowed funds to achieve the intended purpose. Often, government starts servicing the debt before putting the borrowed funds to its intended purpose, hence causing a financial loss to the taxpayer arising from low absorption capacity. The call of Uganda Debt Network comes timely as the country readies itself for budget reading of the 2023-2024 fiscal year this week on Thursday.
Uganda Debt Network is appealing to government to enhance its capability to absorb the borrowed funds in the expected timeline and fend off corruption that cripple its proper utilization.
If this money is utilized very well, it would be able to create a change. But some of the times you look at a project, it borrows money, but most of this money is swindled. So when it is swindled, like we have talked about previously in OSAF, we talk about the Mabati issues. If the money was meant to develop northern Uganda, Karamoja and whatever, and the money is swindled, then the problem that for which we had borrowed it to address, it persists, and again we shall go ahead and borrow.
With Uganda's debt now amounting to 50% of gross domestic product, questions have risen on Uganda's capacity to remain within the IMF debt sustainability framework for developing countries.
Since we are already exceeding 50%, we are now getting into danger, and the danger is inability to pay, because you are not able to, out of the money that you are realizing, you are not able to service the debt. And when you fail to service the debt, there are many dangers. Default means inability to pay, but inability to pay your obligation has the consequences. One, you will not be credible to borrow from the sources that you were previously borrowing, so you'll have to go and borrow from other sources. That's one, which also will, because the global information system is clear, they will already be knowing that you are a defaulter, in which case either they would charge you even at higher rates than these other ones we are charging you, or they will actually totally refuse.
Singh submits that if borrowing appetite is unchecked and debt continues to rise, the country is at risk of plunging into financial distress.
So let us be frugal and let us follow the law. This Public Finance Management Act, we are negating it a lot, instead of following the procedures of, say, debt accrual or debt contraction. We contract debt instead of preparing adequately in areas where we would have avoided incurring a debt. And therefore, it's taking us indeed to plunge us in an abyss in case we fail to meet this obligation. We have countries that have failed to meet their debts and they have suffered a lot.
With Uganda's treasury set to benefit from its first commercial oil production in 2025, there is light at the end of the tunnel that the debt surge will be restrained and maintained within the manageable limits. Crispus Areneitwe, Charlotte Tamuge for UBC Business.
Jerry con. Jerry con. Hey, Master Blaster. Touch him, man. Bang Jerry con with muscle. Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava. First group is I teach you. But never come up with the muscari. Because of the cover is very far. Is you serious? Is serious you? What? Yeah? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs, and you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru, and Umaru refuses to give you enough meat. Show him that they don't joke with you.
Okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako, n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga. Awamu teri kitulema.
Uganda's oil and gas projects are providing opportunities for Ugandan businesses. Between 2017 and 2022, 40% of the 3,800 procurements worth $4.4 billion were awarded to 460 Ugandan companies. This includes 41 community-based companies that have been awarded contracts worth $2.3 million. In order to be contracted to supply goods and services for oil activities in Uganda, entities must register on the National Suppliers Database. Over 2,300 entities are registered on the National Suppliers Database. Registration is free. The Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. His reason is to be the GOAT. The reason to imagine is to take the beat and make it lit. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Mbara and Jinja.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
Attention coffee farmers, traders and processors. Uganda Coffee Development Authority has important advice for a successful harvest season. Pick only red farm cherries to achieve good weight and high quality coffee. For natural processing, dry coffee on tarpaulin, concrete or clothing to avoid mold growth. Avoid heaping coffee on the floor. Store coffee in jute bags and in ventilated rooms on wooden pellets. For more information on good harvest practices, visit your nearest extension worker or Uganda Coffee Development Authority offices.
Dear Airtel customer, we know that there are days when unexpected stays in hospital stand in the way of your family's welfare. That is why Hospital Center is here to give you up to 100,000 shillings every night you spend in hospital. Hospital Center also offers up to 4 million in funeral benefit. Dial star 185 star 7 star 6 hash to purchase Hospital Center on Airtel Money for as little as 1,000, 3,000 or 5,000 shillings a month. Your cover for the first 1 month is free. Hospital Center is underwritten by Prudential and powered by Turaco. Prudential and Turaco are regulated by the Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda. Airtel Money is regulated by the Bank of Uganda.
Welcome back and thank you so much for keeping it UBC. This is UBC News Tonight. I'm Lorraine Masika Kazumoto. Now in more news this evening, in just a few hours from now, Uganda's budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024 will be read. The budget themed full monetization of the Ugandan economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening services and market access is expected to accelerate social and economic growth. Our reporter Dennis Sigoa spoke to Professor Augustus Nwagaba, a renowned economist, on matters pertaining to the upcoming budget.
Prof, of course the theme is a mouthful, but if I'm to look at it, to summarize it, it's about monetizing the economy. We've been talking about this for quite some time. Do you think we're gaining headway?
The problem that we have been having is that 68% of the population has been subsistence for a long time. Now this has reduced to 39. 20% of the population which does not touch money throughout 365 days, in other words, the whole year. This is not a healthy situation. Why? Because once you have 39% of the population, in other words, 4 out of every 10 people in Uganda who do not touch money, are not engaged in economic activity, are not engaged in exchange. Yet, these are the same people who need medicine, they get sick, the children are in school, they want books, government pays for UPE, and yet these people are not contributing to the coffers of government, to government revenue. It creates a big mismatch. So what this budget is about is to monetize the economy, is to ensure that we reduce on this 39% of the population that do not touch money and they get into the money economy.
This one now takes me to the question of oil and gas. You know, there's a lot of anticipation. You see, we have a time frame of 2025. I don't know if it's January or December, but in between January and December. And from the look of things, government is all hands on the deck. Where does you, on your own perspective, I know the government is allocating a lot of resources, but between the two, agriculture and oil and gas, on your own perspective, which one takes precedent?
We need to be very careful here, because you know an oil economy needs to do two things. One, to manage what we call managing perceptions. Yeah, managing perceptions. An oil economy must manage perceptions, because if you don't, something will happen. Everybody is going to think that oil money is going to flow, and once it flows,
they're all going to be happy.
Everybody is going to get free money. That one is not going to happen, and it doesn't happen anywhere. You know, what countries do to manage that perception is to ensure that other sectors remain as they are. If it doesn't happen, and everybody thinks, and also the government poorly manages perceptions, you are going to have what we call a Dutch disease. Dutch disease has got one major attribute, and this is resource movement effect.
I'm so sure you must be having a parting shot, probably to the policymakers, to the government, and to the public out there.
So let's now leverage on the security that we have, ease of doing business, attract more domestic and foreign direct investment, and then there were natural resources which are here, especially in the agricultural sector, and be able to attract business which can pay more direct taxes, and then we're able to also reduce on imports. Then you have more export sector performance. This will improve our foreign exchange pressures. The shilling will have less pressure. Then inflation will be low. How? Because you have now improved the domestic manufacturing, you create employment, you create economic activity. This is where growth comes from. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Society organizations under the Forum for Women in Democracy have expressed the need for government to safeguard health sector human resource budget from cuts to address gaps in service delivery for women, especially in rural areas who rely on public health services. Speaking at a media briefing on gender and equality issues in the 2023-2024 budget, the Executive Director, Forum for Women in Democracy, Patricia Munabi-Wabiha, said the budget framework paper indicates that the wedge bill for delivery of primary health care will be cut by 3.483 billion shillings. We have more details in this report.
The country is experiencing an escalating human resource crisis with non-deployment of medical pre-interns and salary delays for health workers in some hospitals, plus stock out of medicines. However, according to the approved annual budget estimate for the financial year 2023-2024, the health sub-program are set to suffer 181.6 billion budget cut compared to the financial year ending. A statement by civil society organizations read by the Executive Director, Forum for Women in Democracy, indicates that health systems experience a staffing gap of 35%, yet the budget framework paper indicates the wage bill for delivery of primary health care will be cut by 3.48 billion shillings.
This also contributes to increased cases of maternal and infant mortality owing to the time-sensitive nature of childbirth and delicate nature of infants. Ministry of Health also needs to develop and submit a costed human resource plan elaborating how it intends to progressively cover the highlighted human resource gaps to the optimal levels that were set in the NDP3 framework.
The Member of Parliament Chegegwa Kabahenda Flavia says government needs to look at investing in universal health coverage, stressing the need of restraint to cut the health budget by 11.8%.
Country that does not invest in primary health care. We only wait for people to come when they are sick and we can't prevent. We only are on curatives. We want immunization boosted, not only for these simple immunization, but the kind of diseases that are coming around require that we invest much more in immunization.
According to the Center for Health, Human Rights and Development, the budget for national medical stores has a funding gap of 240 billion shillings to avail essential medicines, where the Ministry of Health remains non-committal to raising resources to fund the approved staffing structure.
Health Organization recognizes that you cannot, using the budget alone, have adequate resources for health. And so they have recommended that the balance mechanism as a means of pulling resources together to improve. Now, if you...
The woman Member of Parliament, Cassandra Flavia Kalule, expressed concern over the 1.9 trillion shillings for the classified budget.
In the minority report, we actually rejected this 1.9 trillion, and we were calling on Parliament as well to reject it so that we can reallocate this money to critical sectors, because
civil society organizations say the gender unit under Ministry of Education and Sports that is meant to ensure planning and monitoring the implementation of gender-responsive policies is poorly funded. I'm Navka Farida and Dan Lugemwa in Kampala.
As Ugandans prepare to receive the national budget this week, leaders of local government councils for the elderly in Kampala have urged government to consider increasing the social grant for older persons from the current figure of 25,000 Uganda shillings per month to at least 50,000 shillings. The leaders also want the age of those entitled to receive the money lowered from 80 to 60 years. The revelations were made public at the Elders Dialogue and Youth Leaders held at Nakawa Urban Council.
The dialogue is part of the activities to observe the World Elder Abuse Awareness Day organized worldwide every year. The female Member of Parliament for Older Persons, Honorable Peggy Wako, highlighted what should be reflected in the 2023-2024 budget.
Old persons, those from 8 and above, are receiving 25,000 every month. But I still feel this 25 is still too little according to the cost of living, and things are changing each and every day. So I would be very happy if this money can be increased in the next budget. We struggled, it has not been possible in this budget, but I hope in the next budget it will be possible.
A member of the National Council for Older Persons, John Orach, said government should consider giving cash for the parish development model, pointing out challenges of discrimination.
We want the older persons groups to be recognized and the budget to make it clear that the 10% is for the older persons under PDM, so that their sustenance is guaranteed. So we expect a lot. In the issues of health, it's very important for older persons. Our medicines are very expensive. Yeah, they are not available in most health centers. And the reason is the budget is inadequate.
He asked government to exempt the elderly from all forms of taxation,
most of whom live on subsistence agriculture, which is, you know, with the climate change and what have you. We hope the budget for agriculture will be improved and it will reflect older persons.
The chairperson, Kampala Capital City Authority Older Persons Council, Francis Lubowa, expressed the need of the elderly to be attached to their districts for proper functioning.
Our council is to be attached to the districts and the districts take care of us. It will be more faster than if it is centralized with the central government and we don't know whom to to go and talk to immediately.
Professor James Kasingabalya says government should inject funds in sectors that directly cater for elderly issues.
When you look at the councils, they are not funded enough. We know that the oil for a system to operate well is the money. If the money is not there, believe me, we shall be wasting our time.
Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Thank you very much, Sudat Kaye. Now, the Minister of State for Elderly Affairs, Dominic Mafwabi Kidudu, has underscored the need for sensitization of older persons on their rights to act as a shield against all forms of abuses pelted at them. Minister Kidudu singles out land grabbing as one of the leading abuses faced by the elderly persons, especially in Bukedea region. While addressing journalists on the forthcoming World Elderly Abuse Awareness Day commemoration, Kidudu enumerated a number of government interventions geared at addressing most of the abuses faced by older persons, the latest being the social enterprise grants for older persons dubbed SEGO. Dorcas Kimono reports.
After years of implementing the social assistance grant for elderly people, government is set to roll out a new program dubbed SEGO, targeting persons of 60 to 79 years of age. Already, the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, under which Elderly Affairs Program falls, acquired funds worth 5 billion shillings for the pilot phase of the intervention.
This social enterprise grant for older persons, known as SEGOP, is an alternative government program that seeks to cater for older persons who are not covered under social assistance grant for empowerment, known as SAGE, and weak older persons that may not fit well under parish development model.
Accordingly, qualifying persons are advised to form enterprise groups of 5 to 10 members to receive grants totaling up to 5 million shillings.
So far, over 540 groups with a total of 5,400 older persons have been successfully verified and cleared for funding before end of June 2023. Each district will get 3 groups, and each group has 10 people, but it will get 5 million. So 5 million times 3 is 15 million per district.
It's hoped that if fully embraced, this program will go a long way in shielding older persons from abuses ranging from land grabbing to sexual harassment faced by many. According to Minister Mafabi, Buganda sub-region takes the lead with most land grabbing cases sadly orchestrated by the youth. As the country prepares to mark the World Elderly Abuse Awareness Day on Friday, efforts to promote older persons' awareness about their rights have been cited as the only remedy. This year's day commemorations are to be held under the theme, Seniors Deserve Our Respect and Attention.
This requires every actor in the country to respect the senior citizens because they are not only the custodians of knowledge but are also still contributing to the development of our country.
Forum for Democratic Change has started a countrywide training of the young people, women and persons living with disability as a move to reinforce the party. The pilot program kicked off on Tuesday this week in West Nile's Arua city.
One Uganda! One
Dubbed the Leadership Academy, the strategy is aimed at filling leadership deficiencies that the party has experienced over the years. Mulindwa Lubega, the FDC National Youth League chairman, revealed.
Just recently in March, we launched the Leadership Academy. We thought it will help us to cure the leadership deficiency within the party and even the country at large.
Piloted in West Nile, the training will be carried in all regions of Uganda ahead of the National Delegates Conference of 2023.
And also, it is an opportunity for us to rebrand as a party. The party is now looking at the direction of having more women, more young people, and PWDs on board. The caravan of West Nile is ostensibly to test the ground. We are piloting leadership.
This initiative of training young people came out of the 2022 retreat of National Executive Committee of the FDC. Caps Hassan Fungaro, the FDC National Secretary for Mobilization, said the training also has components of ICT in order to equip members of the party with the ever-changing technology.
Post-election organizational performance evaluation, we did it and we came here to West Nile and we went to the other sub-regions of Uganda. The findings that we made, we set and wrote a report and we analyzed, which resulted to the creation of what you now know as the Leadership and Management Academy of the FDC.
Minister for Presidency, Honorable Bukedea Mili Babalanda, has asked the resident district commissioners and resident city commissioners in the Busoga sub-region to develop mobilization strategies to tackle poverty and poor service delivery. The call comes in response to the classification of Busoga as one of the country's poorest sub-regions by the Uganda Bureau of Statistics.
It's being appreciated. I am also told that you abandoned responding to the quarterly value for money performance audits, which was aimed at evaluating performance in service delivery.
She highlighted the need for RDCs to closely monitor the allocation and distribution of funds, particularly for the Parish Development Model PDM and the Myoga government-led programs that seek to alleviate poverty and increase income of each household.
How much was received? How many programs were implemented as planned? And how many programs were fraudulently implemented? If we manage well the resources at our disposal and also do proper monitoring and supervision of government programs, the issue of corruption will be minimized. The more we lose money at the hands of corrupt officials, the more we curtail our transformation.
The minister also addressed the issue of land grabbing, urging RDCs to investigate cases, report to relevant authorities and implement the presidential directive against land grabbers.
RDCs should therefore be on the lookout of all these criminal actions by fully investigating these cases and directly reporting to the principal judge or the DPP or the Minister for Lands to brief them of what is happening on the ground, especially in cases of emergency that are straightforward and require immediate intervention.
Minister of State for Primary Health Care, Margaret Muhanga, appealed to Ugandans to prioritize physical activity to avoid non-communicable diseases. The appeal comes in line with the celebration of the National Day for Physical Activity scheduled for 18th June 2023 at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds, where screening of various diseases will be carried out alongside physical exercises. Mary Namakose reports.
The Ministry of Health annually registers 75% of patients suffering from non-communicable diseases. According to medical experts, NCDs rate high among Uganda's silent killer diseases. However, speaking at a media briefing held at the Ministry of Health, the State Minister for Primary Health Care, Margaret Muhanga, attributed the cause of lack of physical activity that has spiked the high rate of non-communicable diseases in the country.
These diseases come actually to people like us, with all of you here. If you want to go to Wandegea, like from this place, you jump on a border because there's a border available. Or you drive your car, yet you can walk to Wandegea and do whatever you want. But most times we like the comfort of not exercising, and yet in the long run, it breeds diseases like diabetes, lack of exercise, cardiovascular diseases such as high blood pressure, cancers, chronic respiratory problems.
According to experts, having regular physical exercises helps burn excess fats, which would obstruct the heart from functioning normally. However, regular medical checkups are also recommended.
We need to work out so that we can be able to live longer, to stay with our grandchildren. We no longer ask work out to have a good body, to have six packs, but we work out to see that we can be able to see our grandchildren, play around with them. So working out is a part of life.
So don't wait. Make sure that you go for a checkup to check your blood pressure, your blood sugar, even your weight. They check your weight and your height, and then they can advise you, because your weight should depend on your height. Your bones, the length of your bones should be able to carry what weight.
The Ministry of Health will commemorate the National Day of Physical Activity at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds, where physical activities will be carried out, as well as screening for other diseases.
So we are collaborating with the Ministry of Education to prioritize physical activity in Uganda, especially in schools.
Welcome back from that break, and now into the business scene. Fish is a resource with capacity to propel Uganda's economy farther. It is one fact that both government and fish traders are aware of. This is why fish processors and exporters are calling upon government to expedite the signing of a protocol allowing Ugandan fish products access the Chinese market. State Minister for Fisheries Helena Doa says the protocol currently awaits a green light from the President. Dennis Segoa reports.
The performance has been a result of government focus on gazetting of fish breeding grounds.
Among the sectors President Yoweri Museveni highlighted to have registered progress was that of fisheries. This he emphasized as he addressed Parliament on Wednesday last week during the State of Nation address. Fish farmers and fishermen, processors and traders played a key role in making this progress possible. Nyanza Patch in Jinja is one of them, currently processing and exporting Nile Patch.
After we are cutting fish, two types we are exporting. One is chilled fish and another one is frozen fish.
It is after the final product is extracted that the fish is packaged and made ready for the market.
The red meat they removed for fillets. After that one we are selecting for fresh and frozen. Fresh fillets we are used for chilled purpose. Frozen we are using frozen purpose.
We do export to Europe and also we export to Middle East. So these two are the main markets now. But what we are interested now is to explore the market in China.
The great performance of this sector is attributed to government.
Fish has remained second to coffee. And recently when we had inspectors from European Union, from poor countries like Uganda, we remain number one in their recommendation as a country with a high export of fish, but also with the clean environment around our lakes.
With safety assured and quality guaranteed, fish processors now want the protocol allowing Ugandan fish products to penetrate China market.
It's a preferential tariff arrangement by the Chinese. For that to be effective, there has to be a sanitary and phytosanitary protocol that is supposed to be signed by the Ministry of Agriculture. So if that is done, then we are through to export fish fillets into China.
Government is aware of this concern.
We came up with that protocol and we look forward in getting soon a feedback from His Excellency the President. We so much passionate and supported fishery sector.
The value of fish and fish products exported increased by 27.7%.
This is from $148.7 million in financial year 2020-2021 to $156.4 million in financial year 2021-2022. Henry Okrut, UBC.
A super correction right there. The fish story coming in from our senior reporter, Henry Okurut. Thank you so much for that story. And now into the world of sports. Kitara Football Club has unveiled the coach that will tutor the playing staff in the 2023-2024 Uganda Premier League. We have details in this report.
Fresh from a stellar season in the Federation of Uganda Football Association's Big League, Bunyoro-based Kitara Football Club has unveiled its coach for the upcoming season. Brian Senyondo, who's been given a 2-year contract, replaces Sam Simbwa, who took care of the team's final months in the Big League.
We did an assessment of Coach Simbwa, and we asked him his targets in the StarTimes Uganda Premier League. He shared his targets, and we found that his targets were different from the targets of the club, and we had to agree that we are not going to be with Coach Simbwa in the StarTimes Uganda Premier League because of that.
Senyondo's prior assignment was at Uganda People's Defence Forces, but is armed with a thorough knowledge of Ugandan football, having taken care of several other top clubs like Synergy and Mbarara City.
Those of us who have watched me from my days of Synergy in its initiation, you've seen that from there up to today, I play that free-flowing football with quick transition. A culture of breeding new young players. I've given a lot of players chance in the top flight league.
The administration has set aside a 1.2 billion shillings budget with plans to recruit 10 top players and have set targets for the new coach at the club that topped the Big League last season.
The targets of the club into the StarTimes Uganda Premier League is to be among the top 5. Top 5 means you can even be number 1.
Kitara returns to the top tier league after season out and will play its home games either at the Royal Park in Butema, which is under revamp, or at neighboring Masindi district for the early parts of the season. John Barnes, Sentamo, UBC News.
And with that, UBC News Tonight has come to an end. Thank you so much for your company. We'll leave you with Molin Kenyana with tomorrow's weather forecast. Molin?
There, it is time now that we look at the weather report for tonight. My name is Molin Kenyana. Now, we have seen wet weather activities across most places within the country. Even yesterday, we did see flash flooding across parts of Kampala and much more of the rains within the southern sector. And this has been attributed to the system that is now extending towards our country, and that is also related to the low pressure system or the tropical cyclone that has developed close to India. And because of that, we're seeing that much more of the winds that have been going towards the tropical cyclone are now starting to make their way into the country, and that has explained the severe wet weather activities that we have seen also across several places. Well, tomorrow in the morning, we do expect to start off with isolated showers that will be across the Lake Victoria Basin, and much of Central will start off with a mix of clouds and sunshine. Now, looking at eastern Uganda, we're also likely to have rains across parts of Tororo as well as Jinja, and the rest will have sunny intervals. Similar weather is forecast for western Uganda. We'll have mostly a mix of clouds and sunshine, and that is the same as well for the northern half of the country. As we cross over into the afternoon, we do expect rains to continue across the Lake Victoria Basin and parts of central. Temperatures will be in the upper 20s, although we do expect sunny intervals that will be across parts of Nakasongola. Looking at eastern Uganda, also likely to have those rains persisting throughout the afternoon, and temperatures will rise up to 28 degrees centigrade. Also for Western Uganda, we'll have a development of wet weather activities that will be across most places within that region. We do expect quite a warm day forecast. As temperatures will be going up to 30 degrees. And across the northern part of the country, we'll see also a development of rains that will be for several places. We have temperatures going up to 28 for most of those areas. And crossing over borders, we're looking at sunny conditions forecast for Cairo and Dubai. We are forecasting sunny intervals. Also, that is similar weather forecast for parts of Nairobi, but also showers are expected over there with a chilly 25. That marks the end of tonight's weather report. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Molin Kenyana. Have a good night.